G'day everyone, just a short video today. I wanted to show you guys how to do lighting properly in SCP-RP. I'm going to give you some tips on why I pick the settings I do when it comes to lights. If you want a short explanation on why I think lights are so important, because it is necessary to build a fantastic atmosphere for the game. Also, it can make builds that are, let's say, a 5 out of 10 in quality. They can make it look 10 out of 10, right? So this is one of the builds I built a few weeks ago. It's a portal inspired design that someone else made, but I built it in SCP-RP. So the lighting here is done and everything. Do not worry about why it looks so bright over there. It's just because the load zone is weird, because the build itself is so big it goes out of the load zone, even on max graphics. So you guys, in my opinion, the lighting in this room is great. It fits the atmosphere really well. It has the industrial design and everything. All the reflections of the metal and stuff that I purposefully made just enhances the graphical experience when you come on site. Even the textures of all the walls and stuff. So, starting with lighting, right? You want to place a part. Go to the lighting tool, and then typically for a beginner, I would recommend using point lights only for room lights. Just press add. Now you'll see a couple settings here: color, range, brightness, and shadows. Always put shadows on, pretty much. I would always put it on. The only time I wouldn't put it on is when I'm trying to illuminate some text on a wall. But that's pretty much it. Okay, so range. Range is dependent on how big the room is. If the room is big and open like this one, I recommend using a high range. The range is just how far the light travels, okay? So if we go to range, let's make it 60. You guys see how it is. It gets obviously a lot wider now and brighter. And then after 60 studs of range, it will disappear. Okay, so a point light is 360 degrees of light emitted from the center block. And yeah, that's pretty much the explanation for what a point light is. Brightness. Now, this is widely debated, but I typically stick to only below 1 brightness. Anything at brightness 1 or above, I consider way too bright. It just is by default. I really don't like it. Typically, I stick to 0.45 to 0.7. That's a pretty good range. It's very safe to use. If we go 0.7 here, it's dimmed down a little bit. Go 0.45, it should be way dimmer. Color, by default, it will start as white, pure white. This is very important knowledge, guys. Do not ever use pure white lights. That's my opinion, right? But it's very important that you guys try to adopt this idea that pure white is lazy lighting, and it really is a disservice towards creating a great atmosphere for your rooms and your builds. The only lights I would ever use in a build is hot or cold, blue, purple, or orange, maybe even slightly red. This is because, so blue obviously makes the room look cooler. So if we go to blue, this is pretty good color. You want it around here. And if you make it ever so slightly blue, it'll make the room look way cooler. I'll show you guys an example of a cool room later on, but we did start in the super heavy just because. This room is an example of warm lighting, industrial lighting, it would say. So for warm lighting, I'll typically use the same middle slider point, but would go to orange, very slightly red. So about here, that should be plenty enough orange. You can make it more saturated if you wish. The bottom bar represents, like, it's pretty much identical to brightness. However, it's the brightness applied after your brightness settings on the block itself. So you see how it's 0.45? Right now, because it's at 100% by default, that's 0.45. If I move this down, you'll see it will get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until pretty much nothing, which is 0% brightness. You guys can see this statistic on the right here next to HSV. On the very right, 100%, 50%. So, you know. Typically, you won't need to touch this because you're better off just changing the brightness of the thing itself. However, you know, it won't kill you if you do. Alright, next up we have spotlights. Spotlights are probably, as you imagine, they are one side of the block a light will emit. Just like a street lamp, something like that, for example. Shadows on, like always, pretty much. Range, just for showcase purposes, I'm going to put it pretty high. Now you guys will see how the light is coming on the floor here. But if I move it next to this wall, it doesn't illuminate the right side of the wall or anything. It only is the bottom face. You can change the face that it illuminates lights. That's what the side represents. Top, back, bottom, left, front, right. Typically bottom is, you know, that's where you would want it. And then just rotate the block to your liking to, you know, to whatever increment you want the light to be emitted from. Kind of like this, you see this? Very simple stuff. I promise you guys, like, a lot of people don't put in enough work to learn these specific lighting types or anything, and it's really holding them back. So, alright, so we're gonna go here. And color, just like point lights, the exact same thing. Brightness, same thing. However, for spotlights, I do not mind brightness at 1 because spotlight's purpose itself is to illuminate pretty much a single spot of objects. It gives good contrast, you know, light and dark. So if you do leave it on 1, it's not the end of the world. But remember, if the room is already bright, you don't need it that bright. Color, same thing. If the room is slightly warm from your spotlights, point lights, sorry, you want it to be slightly less warm, but still warm. So you see here, we'll move it to slightly warm, and you'll notice how it blends in a lot better with the surroundings. Angle is obviously the angle of which the light projects off of the side. So 120 would be a wide angle. 180 means it's coming off pretty much every, like, it's literally just flat direction straight off of the side of the block. If you guys know your angles, it's definitely very wide, and that's pretty much the highest you can put it on it. Now, I would probably only recommend going to about 120 tops for angle, because, you know, anything above that, it's pretty much turned into a point light. Alright, so next up we got surface light. Surface light is a version of a spotlight. However, even though it still projects off of one side of your choosing, it scales, like where it actually scales with the size of the block, of the side, sorry. So if I put it on the bottom like usual, range 45, you guys can see it there, shadows on, angle 90, whatever. However, if you scale it, you guys see that? Okay, hold on. The lighting is a bit buggy here, but you guys can see that, how if you do scale it out, the light will emit off of pretty much the entire side of the block. If this was spotlight, which I'll go back to, I forgot to show you guys. Spotlight, range 45, bottom. Instead of applying across the entire scale, it just takes the middle of the block and then projects off of the middle of the block. Move that, go to bottom. So you guys see that? Now this room is pretty much entirely built out of spotlights and surface lights. I'd pretty much only recommend point lights for a normal developer, but surface lights are great for if you know what points you really want illuminated, what you don't want illuminated. Because if it's a point light, you can't really choose. It literally comes off every side. They collide with each other a lot. It can get a bit messy. So literally everything you see here, guys, there's like a surface light off in the distance that's projecting light onto the walls here from afar. And the roads here, you see how the middle is a bit more illuminated than not. That's because this is about 2 surface lights. One going straight across here, one going straight down here. They're invisible, but you guys can see what they're doing, and it just makes a good contrast for the road. Spotlights, obviously tiny little lights coming off of the light poles. That's just for additive realism. That's pretty much it for this room. There's not really much else, any other lighting techniques going on in here besides just the ones that you would probably do anyway. Yeah, alright, now let's just move to another room where I can show you guys some more lighting techniques. It's a bit more advanced. Now this room uses a mix of hot and cold lighting. If you guys have a keen eye, you would notice that the top of the room is more warm than the walkway of the room. How it's like more bluish. This is more warmer. This gives off a fantastic contrast, and they complement each other really well with the industrial of this side, you know, and then normal stock area of this side. It really gives off a great feeling for the room. And over here, I've used surface lights to illuminate off of these wall lights here. You guys can notice. These are point lights. You guys can use spotlights here, but the lights coming off this is a point light. They actually use... I should be using... so this light will have less range. It's a point light. It has really small range. You guys will notice this. But it will be a brighter color. Wait, why is that red? I don't think it really matters, but... Okay, there we go. So the inner circle of the light, which is decently hard to see, but you can see it here, how it's a lot brighter on the inside than the outside. That's where the second box comes in. It has a higher range. It's slightly less bright. However, the color's more saturated. This gives off the effect of like realistic lights. So a realistic light would be obviously way brighter around the point of where the light illuminates from. Pretty much everything in this room has shadows on as well. Off of these lights here, we do have mini spotlights that come off and illuminate the walkway. Yep. Alright, that's pretty much it for this room. So you guys will notice that the lights that we use, they glow. If you're a very beginner person that doesn't know how to make blocks glow like light, you have to go to the material tool. You have to set it to neon. When you initially set it to neon, you'll see it doesn't have any bloom coming off of it. To do that, you have to go to the paint tool and you have to increase this slider here on the bottom. You have to increase it up a bit or down depending on how you want it. You'll notice that on really high settings, the bloom is at its peak. If you set it down, it's less. It's also the range on where the bloom is visible. So if it's higher, you'll see the bloom from further away. If you're closer, it looks pretty much the same. Alright, there you go. Now, I'll give you an example of a cool room. This is not it here. Don't worry about this. Go up. Alright, so this is the new area I'm working on for you guys currently in Site 56. This is the scientific department. This is from Zenith. Really cool people over there. They let you buy maps at a very affordable price. This sounds like an advertisement, but those guys are great. This is where you buy licenses from if you guys want a map. Yeah, so this is a cool room. It's pretty much compiled completely out of bluish lights. So if you come here, this is a point light. You guys will notice how the color is slightly blue tinted. This is how you do it. It's also brighter because of the type of room it is in. When you guys are in a more industrial type room, I would recommend using brightnesses of about 0.4. For rooms like science, medical, whatever, make it brighter. Because, you know, that's just how it is in real life. You want it bright. Offices as well. Range 30. Now, typically, I prefer to use a lot of medium to lowish range light blocks. That's because I can actually use I can dictate where I want shadows to illuminate and stuff, make it look beautiful and all that. Now these lighting in these rooms, they are quite rushed. However, you'll notice that I've put them in the right spots to illuminate shadows and stuff, so it looks decently cool. Now, the finished product of this room will probably have a surface light illuminating the paths to make it a bit more, you know, look like a path that you're meant to take. But yeah, this is pretty much the simple of it. Alright, next up is a pretty important step. It's where you guys have to learn what blocks illuminate light best, like reflect light the best, and which one's appropriate. So if we place a block down here in the middle of the walkway, plastic doesn't really reflect that crazily at all. Smooth plastic will a bit more. Hold on, I should get a better light for this. Yeah, so when you move around, you'll be able to see the reflection of certain objects, just like you do with these metal bars on the wall. So from afar, you can see how it looks really nice, how it's like all illuminated and stuff. So smooth plastic and plastic. Plastic doesn't really reflect much, smooth plastic does. Is this glass or smooth plastic? Glass, okay. This would be smooth plastic, probably. Yeah. So you guys can see how it's reflecting and stuff. Now for high reflection, guys, typically you would think that these metal stuff, even though they reflect a lot, you would think that the material is metal itself. No, it is not metal. I actually set it to glass because glass reflects a lot. So if you come onto the glass mode, you guys will see how, like, you see the light. Like, it looks really nice. But if we set it to metal, it still reflects, but it actually doesn't reflect as much as glass would. Ice reflects a lot as well, if you guys prefer ice for windows. But obviously stuff like concrete, brick, asphalt, they will pretty much have no reflectance at all. There you go. Someone joined. I forgot to put a code on the server. Alright. One more thing I forgot to tell you guys is the settings that you want for the map. I did say last time that I'll make another video on the settings for the servers. And this bit here, it's all personal preference, whoever all the real settings are in the world. Gravity multiplier, you don't have to touch this, but I don't like it when CDs, you know, cheese and jump really high onto places they shouldn't be, so I do turn it up by 10%, the gravity, so you'll jump 10% like less, you know, like height-wise. FPS only, do not put this on. It'd be cool for like an event or something, but FPS means first person. Do not do that. SCP 966 spawn limit. It's up to you guys. Team death billboard, up to you. Combat AI. I don't want combat AI, but for events it can be good. They're just like bots, you know. Atmosphere color. Now this is really important. By default, the atmospheric color will be like a light blue haze. Whoever, that's great. So if you go nothing, so you guys will notice how you can see the blue mist and stuff, like it looks blue. It's pretty much just a fog that's cast over the map. And you guys, I'll talk about that more in a bit. Typically, you want either no atmospheric color, atmosphere number 4, which is pretty much the same as an atmosphere 0. You can also put in a custom color. So for 56, we use either beige or blue. Beige is literally just, as you would see, it's just a beige haze put over the map. It's to make some industrial areas look really nice. Next up is actually in world. We have the soundtracks, server add-ons, skybox, atmosphere enabled, world brightness. Now, atmosphere enabled is personal preference, right? That would pretty much just turn off all of that. Initially, we used no atmosphere, so if we head over to the CDC. Alright, so this is the CDC. Beautiful, aged really well. You guys will notice the haze because it is a quite wide build, so you'll notice there's a haze in the background. Now, if we turn off the atmosphere, completely disappears. And you guys will notice how much it affects the lighting of the map. Initially, we preferred to use no atmosphere at all because I didn't, like back then, I didn't really know much about the custom atmospheres and how good they really are. It still looks pretty decent without an atmosphere, like it looks fine, but you really want that haze so that builds that are bigger can look like it fades into the distance more naturally, because back here it looks fake and plasticky, but if you walk back up to it, obviously it'll load back in due to the distance and it'll look realistic again. However, if you had the atmosphere on and then you walk away slowly, it definitely looks a bit better when you walk away and stuff. It just looks cooler. Next up is the settings for fog. Fog by default starts at fog 50. Fog 50 is too much for an atmosphere like beige. I would recommend fog 45. Fog 47 for other atmospheres, or fog 40 if you really don't want that much of an atmosphere. But you pretty much always want an atmosphere like on at some extent. And if you look at fog 0, that's literally atmosphere off. But the background is so much brighter. It's actually worse than atmosphere off, so do not just put it to 0. Fog 0 looks actually insane. And put it to 100 when you want to troll your friends. See, look at this. You can't even see. Oh my god. Yeah, so fog 45 is fog 45, fog 43, fog 47. It's the sweet point for fog in this game. Next up is the time commands. So time by default, I forgot what the default time is, but it's sometime in the day. The most popular and most reliable time settings is most reliable is time 12, time 3, time 4. That's pretty much all you want it on. We use time 4:30, like 4:30. And that is the time we're on right now, so nothing will change. Yep. It's just the middle of the night. It is 24-hour time, so keep that in mind. If we set it to 12, time 12. Yeah, you guys see how even the haze changes, like a lot of things changes. It's just with how natural lighting interferes. So the time setting with the least amount of natural light interference is actually time 3, if I'm not wrong. See how it's just, that's it. Then we go to time 4. It should be slightly more bluish. Fog 4:30 is the one we use, and not fog 4:30, sorry, time 4:30. Fog 45. Did not mean to do that other thing. I think I actually deleted a bit of mountain there. It looks really empty there. But yeah, so I hope I gave you guys a pretty good explanation on the fogs and the atmospheres. Summarized, atmosphere enabled at all times. Have it either blue or beige. Anything else is really abstract and really niche. Doesn't really work well, doesn't look realistic. So if you set something red, like what situation would you be in that it's red? Like, what is going on? Maybe like a breach of an SCP, the flesh that hates, whatever. I don't know, dude, but yeah, just beige or blue. That's pretty much what you want it. Or if you really want, just turn it off. It still can look fine, builds if you turn it off. But keep it on if you were to take advice from me. Beige or blue. Fog 45 is a very safe one. I would recommend just Fog 45 pretty much always. Yeah. Atmosphere enabled. World brightness. I don't really fiddle with this. Doesn't really do much, especially at time 4, because there isn't much brightness at all from natural lighting. Server add-ons. This is where you put scripts and stuff for the map. Now, the map that we shared across only has about 2 scripts on it, but 56 by itself has a lot of scripts. So, just don't think that we only have 2 scripts. We have a lot. Okay. Don't fiddle with this if you do not know what you're doing, because it can mess you up. You can get custom weapons, you can get teleporting tools. Like, it's really cool. Always recommend it. Alright, now Skybox. For Skybox, pretty much I would only really recommend using the default Skybox, because it does change depending on the time. Like, it looks really cool. Like, if you want a map that's daytime, let's say it's on the surface. 56 were underwater, so we do have a submarine out there. But if you want it daytime, just set the time to like time 12, or not time 12, sorry, time, let's say 8 in the morning. Now if you leave the map, you guys probably won't be able to see it, but the sun should be coming up. There it is. I need to turn off the atmosphere for this, because the fog does really clog everything up. So there you go, guys. You can see now. Look at it. It's like a bright day. You got everything going on here, and The reason why I wouldn't touch the skybox, guys, is because little do a lot of people know, the skybox does affect how fog appears. I probably won't be able to show you guys a demonstration today, but remember the fog is just a super blurred skybox, like pretty much. So just take my word for it, guys, and don't fiddle with a skybox. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it for helping you guys learn stuff on lighting, some tips and tricks, settings for your instance, and in future videos, guys, I'm going to show some live building sessions where I actually apply this live, and you guys will see me, my thinking process, everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little video here. This is just a, let's just say part 2 of the first video of how to do things in SCP-RP. But yeah, overall, lighting, incredibly important. Atmosphere, fog, incredibly important. Like, you can make any map look great with good lighting, good atmosphere, okay? Alright, thank you guys, that'll be it for today. Make sure to drop your opinions on your lighting settings that you like using in SCP-RP. I'd really like to know. Alright, thank you guys, bye bye.